I don't even know what to say. Welcome to this reaction to a game as Knicks fans that you probably couldn't fathom. You couldn't have predicted. You realistically couldn't have hoped for, couldn't have expected, and you can't explain it. You can't expect it to happen again. I have no idea what we just witnessed over the last couple hours. I'm attempting to live stream for the first time. Some people are telling me the stream's not working. So if no one ends up on this live stream, you're going to see it as a recorded episode, just like all the rest of ours. So thank you for listening. Thank you for attempting to join the live stream. I believe if I'm talking to you, I'm most likely assuming I'm talking to Knicks fans. Well, we just experienced, it's hard to put into words. So I'm 33 years old, born at the end of 1991. The Knicks were in the last in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2000. So, as a real fan, as a fan that's able to really truly understand what's going on, because at 8, 9 years old, you can't really grasp it. This is the first time that I've seen this. And what transpired tonight, I'll try to. I'm not going to give many stats, much data. I'll try to explain what my perspective on this game was, what happened, the best I could. I'm going to keep this kind of short. I'm tired. I have a 2 week old newborn. So those of you that have either that are parents, that you've obviously know what that entails. So I'm very tired. I'm supposed to be waking up in like an hour to feed her, and instead of waking up, I'm just going to go right from potting into feeding the baby. So I'll do this quick. This is a euphoric feeling. This is a feeling of like it's almost unbelievable. I can't believe what just happened. As Knicks fans in my age group and older age groups, what you've been through, what we've been through with this team since the early 2000s has been awful season after awful season after awful season. Eighth seed. Awful season, awful season, awful season. Oh, Mellow, couple good years. Never made it past the second round. Awful season, awful season, awful season. Rebuild, tank, whatever it is. It's been a disaster. This franchise has been a disaster. And Leon Rose came in, Tom Thibodeau came in, changed everything. Jalen Brunson came in and took that change and molded it into something that's reliable, something that's real, something that's tangible, something that you could say as a Knicks fan, we see where this could go. Now, this season, after they brought in Cat right the night before training camp started, after they brought in Bridges on the trading 5 first round picks in the offseason, they lost iHeart, they lost Devo, they obviously lost Randall, seemingly lost a lot of that grit, a lot of that toughness. They didn't have that most of the season. They were a great team, but it seemed that they were missing that grit. They during these playoffs, they've shown it. But something is interesting about this was a great season, 51 wins, but it felt like there was something missing. We were questioning the core roster. Can they really compete with the top teams and make a run at run a title run with this core, with their two best players being liabilities on defense? Is the Bridges fit? It was a strange season. He didn't seem to have a great fit. He wasn't playing great defense that he was known for. He was hesitant to shoot threes. Did his mid-range game really fit with this roster? And all these ideas, all these potential off-season changes, Tibbs, all this pops in our head where because we just aren't confident about this team making a deep run. But something changed in the playoffs, and in the Pistons series, it almost made us question, like, almost even more so, right? Because they went to 6 games against a team that we all viewed as inferior, talent wise, skill wise. But here in this series, and yes, I know Jason Tatum got hurt. I know, in game 4. At that point, this was a series that the Knicks could not lose, up 3-1 without Tatum. And the way they played in game 5 concerned a lot of Knicks fans. But what happened tonight, it's like I'm scratching my head trying to think about it and talk about it. It's just what just happened. 119 to 81. To cap off on what I was just whatever long-winded thing I was saying. This team has been a disaster for way too long. We finally have the team. We had high hopes. A lot of Knicks fans were frustrated. It wasn't as good as I thought it'd be. Didn't seem as real in terms of being a championship caliber team. Mosquito, uh, as we hoped. Not the case. Mikal Bridges has turned it up a notch, several notches in the playoffs, and what we just saw, what we're what we all just saw, we can just say is something that, as a diehard fan, when you go through the suffering, you go through the horribleness, bad seasons, the tanks, the rebuilds, the 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 coach, the general manager, star player, hunting the star players, not getting the star player, not getting the free agent, not getting LeBron, not getting KD, not getting Kyrie. Go on and on. The Larry Brown. I mean, we can go on and on with the coaches, the Phil Jackson hire as team president. The amount of big names that this team has tried to bring in terms of personnel. Remember when they brought in Steve Francis? In terms of players, in terms of front office personnel, in terms of coaching, it's hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, and it's just everything's been a failure. And then the Leon Rose comes in, Tibbs comes in, Brunson comes in, and we're seeing a culmination of that. And just to have gone through all the struggles to now be here and see this team going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000, it's what makes being a diehard fan great. And this was unfathomable. I mean, I 119 to 81. That's a 38-point win. They were up by 40 plus. They could have. I mean, the Celtics couldn't score. If the Knicks starters stayed in with and played with intensity, then they wouldn't have gotten to 75 points. So that brings me to what just happened tonight. The Knicks came out from the jump with a sort of defensive intensity, effort, energy, communication. It was a mental, emotional, and physical intensity that I have not seen from this team. Not only this season, I can't remember seeing a Knicks team, even most basketball NBA teams at all, play with that sort of level of defensive engagement. It was incredible, and it was everyone in the rotation. Everyone. I texted a couple of friends, LeBron, McBride, after that, after that block. There, the defensive intensity was so absurd, and so the defensive energy was so great in the first half. It was really incredible. But even in the third quarter, they come out of the locker room after a break. Go in. It's a blowout. You can understand how maybe they wouldn't have the same level of intensity and energy and engagement in the second half. But there were two plays that stick out to me in the second half that just show how great of a job they did at keeping up that high level of engagement and intensity. In the third quarter, I think midway through, maybe a little bit earlier than that, somewhere in the third quarter, Brunson gets doubled trying to cross the timeline, passes it. It gets stolen. Knicks are up by like 30 at that point. All right, Celtics go down, get a fast break, 2 points, whatever, right? Layup or dunk. No. Carl Anthony Towns races back, deflects, and gets a steal. And not only does he stop the fast break, he turns it into they turn it into points the other way. Again, they were up like I think 32 or 34 at this point. Then there was a little bit later in the third quarter. I mean, this guy is a little less surprising. There was a loose ball. Or Knicks were on offense on the offensive half court, front court, and there was a loose ball. I forgot it was a deflection or a rebound, and the Celtics had three guys going on the ball, and they're about to go and take off, and then Josh Hart comes out of nowhere and beats three Celtics to the ball. All three of them were closer, and the Knicks were up by like almost 40 at this point. I think they were up by 40 at this point. That level of engagement really in the second half when they were already blowing them out, already in control, that really stuck out to me. But the rotation, no one was giving up on a defensive possession. One guy rotated. They all kept rotating. They were communicating on the pick and roll. They were communicating on all the screens. One man got beat, there was someone else there. They were moving their feet. They were active with their hands. They were blocking shots. Mitch was outstanding defensively again. Deuce was awesome. Bridges, unbelievable. I mean, Mikal Bridges, he has upped his game several levels during this playoffs and during this series. His physical, Mikal Bridges' physicality. He wasn't physical with players all season. He's physical he's physical at the top of the key. He's being physical around the screens, fighting through the screens. Mikal Bridges, I don't even know how Knicks fans that look. I was pointing out things that he wasn't doing great throughout the season, but Knicks fans that were just hating him and blaming him for everything that was wrong with the team, they owe him an apology and just you gotta acknowledge that you were wrong. And he incredible. OG, the primary assignment on Jaylen Brown, awesome. Jaylen Brown had a really good first quarter, but he was working for those shots. He was working for those step back threes. And OG and the Knicks, their defensive intensity tired him out. It really was a remarkable defensive performance. And that's not even talking about the offense. We could talk about the offense. The offense was great. I mean, they honestly left a lot of points out on they had a lot of open threes that they just missed. If they shot pretty well from open three, this would I mean, they would have this would have been a 60-point game. I mean, the Knicks and granted, I get it, the Celtics missed some open threes too. You could say that, and the Celtics missed a good amount of open threes, but the Celtics were working so hard for every possession. A lot of their open threes were third, fourth. After a couple offensive rebounds, a couple deflections where they got an open look, they were exhausted. The Knicks were just out physicaling them. They were making them work so hard for everything, every dribble, every pass. Knicks were contesting shots. Knicks were not fouling. On the offense, though, like I was going to say, this it was a team effort. They didn't require Jalen Brunson heroics. Jalen Brunson was very good in this game, but they didn't shoot great from three. But they played really well, really good team basketball. Love the ball movement. So much offense generated off turnovers. Josh Hart was a monster in this game. I mean, Josh Hart with like his eye looked crazy, but he was a monster. The energy he had, both ends of the court, running the fast break. And I'm just looking at the box score here. Let's pull this up here. Okay. OG 23 points, 7 of 18. I think special 4 of 13 from 3. Whoa. Um let's see. 9 rebounds, 2 assists, whatever, 2 blocks. 2 blocks, 2 steals, plus 25. plus 26. Josh Hart, I mean, 10 points, playoff triple double, the first playoff triple double the Knicks have had since Walt Clyde Frazier. Josh Hart, 10 points, plus 24, 3 of 8, whatever, one for three from three, whatever, it doesn't matter. 11 rebounds, 11 assists. Cat, 8 for 20, 21 points, 12 rebounds. Mikal Bridges had 22 points. He shot really efficiently, 9 of 15. Mikal Bridges was awesome on both. I just can't say that enough, how good he was and how good he was in this series. And in the biggest moments, he makes big plays. Bridges was plus 25. Brunson was plus 30 to lead the way, 8 for 14, 23 points. I mean, he didn't, the thing is, 6 assists, he didn't have to do that much. This wasn't like a Brunson having to go off game, man. This was a really well balanced effort on offense. A lot of points off turnovers, a lot of points off ball movement, a lot of good looks, and the Knicks missed a lot of wide open threes. A lot. They missed a lot of wide. I don't know that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. They definitely missed more open threes than the Celtics did. Mitch, incredible. He had one point, but plus 20, monster, so active. Knicks so comfortable with him switching on these guards on these wings and him staying with them. What a great effort from Mitch. So much energy. So great on help defense. There's just and then it's just a really well balanced effort. Really a great game. And then Deuce McBride, loved his energy, loved his intensity. That block, that track down block was awesome. I mean, that's like a 6'2" guard. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, he's super athletic, but that was that's just not giving up on a play. That's just everyone being connected in terms of their communication, in terms of that effort, that intensity. I don't even know how to describe that performance. The Knicks came out in a certain matter tonight that is just I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. They were just on another level physically, emotionally than the Celtics. And they were on another level and I can't remember I mean this is I don't you guys if you listen to this podcast, you know, I don't really speak with hyperboles. I'm not a hyperbolic person. I cannot recall a game, a Knicks game in my fanhood. You want to call it 20 years since I was 13, where the Knicks played with this much intensity, energy, and connectiveness. Yeah, on defense. They didn't even shoot the ball well. They scored 119 points because they just dominated in every aspect of the game. Incredible. And they dominated so much, they took the defending champions and put them into it. Did the Celtics give up? I mean, I think they did. How could you not have? The Celtics, if they were going to come out in the second half and make a run, nope. Couple minutes in, the Knicks lead is up to 40. Nope, there's no run. Jaylen Brown fouls out. Knicks did I mean, I don't know what's going on with KP. Who really cares? I mean, I mean, I wish him, I wish him, I don't mean on a personal level, but in terms of on a basketball level and his performance, no, I don't feel bad for the Celtics. Yeah, Tatum, that sucks that he got hurt. But no, I mean, that's what sports is. That's what the NBA is. Look at the Knicks last year in the playoffs. And what the Knicks did in this game, Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett, 7 blocks in game 5. Luke Cornett, you know what? He was minus 16 in this game. Yeah. Yeah, he played really well in 20 minutes. I might take a moment and just start laughing about the Celtics right now because the defending champions, who looked incredible without Tatum in Game 5, and I believe that they were a good team. I thought they still had. I was telling people that Knicks fans, friends, and I was saying, look, like this isn't as easy as you think. Like, let's Tatum's their best player, yeah, by far, but the reason why they're so good is because they have 5 or 6 other guys that could do everything on the court competently. They can dribble, they can defend, they could shoot. But in a game when you're not hitting your shots, where your opponents ratcheted up their defensive intensity to an obscene level, you need a superstar to settle things down, to make plays, to hit big shots. Jalen Brown's really good. Great player. He's not he's not that kind of player. There's not many of those players in the league. Jason Tatum's one of them. So yeah, the Celtics could have used the Knicks benefit. It made it easier on the Knicks to defend. You don't have to worry about Tatum. You can there's less guys that you have to there's less quality guys that you have to have Cat and Brunson on, essentially. And you can have OG and Jalen. So yes. But Jalen Brown minus 30 in this game, 8 for 20. Al Horford was a minus 33. Drew Holiday, a minus 34. And Derek White, who killed the Knicks the last couple of games, minus 45. Derek White, as great as he has shot the last couple of games, and a big reason for the Celtics winning game 5 was his 3-point shooting. In this game, 3 for 11 from the floor, 2 for 8 from 3-point range, 8 points in 30 minutes, minus 45. Drew Holiday looks is he looked horrible. He couldn't do anything on offense. Drew Holiday shot 1 for 8. He had 4 points, minus 34. Peyton Pritchard, he was okay. Shot 5 for 10, 1 for 4 from 3, scored 11 points, minus 17. Sam Hauser, 1 for 5 from 3. The Knicks absolutely dominated this game. And like I said, I wanted to keep this short. I wanted to keep it quick. For Nick, this is euphoria. The Knicks just absolutely destroyed. This is one of those games it's kind of like that Suns game against the Mavs. It was the Mavs, right? Yeah. Brunson was on the Mavs and Bridges was on the Suns. Where the Mavs won that game 7 by like 40, whatever it was. I remember watching some of that game, looking at the box score the next day, and being like, "Wow, how does that happen?" And watching this game, I don't know how that happened. I explained the defensive intensity and all that, but I don't know. The Knicks beat the Celtics down. It was incredible. And Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. On the pod, we're gonna do an episode. We're gonna preview the Knicks Pacers series. We're gonna wait. I'm gonna figure out the schedule. I got to look into some stats, look into advanced metrics, look into all that. What I think. My initial thoughts on this series is, I know it's a rematch of last year's second round series. Knicks lost in 7. We all know that the injuries the Knicks didn't have. By the end, Brunson got hurt in game 7. Hart had that injury. OG had that injury. I think it was game 3 or 4. That really turned the series from there. They obviously didn't have Cat. They didn't have Bridges. They had Randall, but he was hurt. So the Knicks were being a really injury riddled team at that point. The Pacers are better this year. The Pacers are better defensively this year. They still play with that high end pace. Tyrese Halliburton is an awesome player. Great playmaker, great 3-point shooter, really elusive, great handles, awesome player. They have a stretch 5, Miles Turner, also really good rim protector. They have a lot. Nimhard, they have obviously Pascal Siakam, TJ McCollum. Oh my god, I mean McConnell. Sorry, Um, Great team. Former Nick Obi Toppin, who's really fit in nicely there, really found himself into a role among the best six man in the league. Uh, Really good team, and it's gonna be a really tough series. But I expect the Knicks to win, and I'm not gonna. One thing about this effort tonight, there's no way to expect this every game because they haven't done it. And they've been an inconsistent team with how the energy and the effort, intensity that they bring on a night to night basis. Even in the playoffs, they've seen that. And it seems like every time they lose, Brunson and Harden after the game say we just didn't, come in with enough intensity. I feel like that's just their cop out answer instead of going into the actual things that they did wrong. But yeah, let's come out with 80% of this every game. 80% of this would be incredible. So yes, I'll get into this. We'll do an episode. We'll preview the Pacer series. Uh, I don't believe the NBA has released the schedule that quickly yet, unless I missed it. We'll get into that. For now, the players, the team should enjoy this. Knicks fans, I'm talking to you. Let's enjoy this. This was awesome. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, first time since 2000. The Knicks have home court advantage in the series in the Eastern Conference Finals. They are going to be the betting favorites. They have a legitimate chance to make the NBA Finals. Let's not get ahead of ourselves who they play there. Let's enjoy this. We'll do an episode next week, get you set for the series. But the New York Knicks defeat the defending champions, the Boston Celtics, 4-2. They win 119-81. And incredible high level defensive performance by the entire team. Credit to everyone. I haven't credited Tom Thibodeau. Tibbs, you had me worried there by leaving the guys in with like 5 minutes left. They're up by 40 at that point, whatever it was, 38. I was at one point Bronson went in for like a layup and then like fell like by the camera. Oh, it's like, come on, what are we doing here? But Tibbs deserves a lot of credit. How can he not? This team just played, I would say, the best game they played all season. And in game 4, they played at that point probably the best all around game of the season, especially given the circumstances. There may have been some games this early in the year against the Grizzlies or the Nuggets where they played really well like that. But 2 of the last 3 games here in this series against the Celtics are arguably their best 2 games of the entire season. The Knicks have ratcheted it up several levels here in the playoffs and in this series. And the Knicks have moved on. They got past the Pistons in 6. They got past the Celtics in 6. And it's time to bring on the Indiana Pacers. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Let's go Knicks. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals.